Hello, folks. Happy Tuesday. It is good to be here with you. My name is Kyle Kurzhal. I like to describe myself as your go-to guy for AI, automations, things like that to get back your time and grow your business, grow your investing, or whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe you're just an employee and maybe you want to get back some of your time. Then this is the place for you. My background is in software engineering. I've done that for over 11 years now. Currently working as a CTO at a startup to help some folks in the long-term care space. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into tonight's news, like I am every week. We're actually going to also be playing with a tool that we've already used in the past. There's been an update to it, so we're going to go through. We're going to mess with it. And then obviously this time is also meant for you to be able to ask questions. So as we're kind of going through this, feel free to drop your questions in the chat on YouTube, Facebook, and now officially on Rumble as well. I try to take a second here and there as I'm going through the articles or going through the tools to go look at the chat. And if you've got something that's a little bit longer, typically I also will look at a separate spreadsheet that I have pulled up to that feeds in from one of the forums that you can see there in the chat. Like I've got that currently on YouTube and on Facebook. Rumble folks, I'm going to drop this in here for you as well. So if you've got longer questions that don't quite fit in the chat, you don't want to type, multiple messages, then go ahead and submit to that link that I've provided there, and I'll see those come into my spreadsheet live. All right, so let me see, what else do we need to cover here? So our typical segments are, first up, we go through our news, we hit however various mini articles we've got. Usually I focus on like the big three as far as model providers and some of the tooling around those. Then we go play with the tools. And if any additional like questions come up, maybe I hone in on a specific question, we go deep on something. So always open to feedback. If you got feedback from me, drop that in the chat as well. If you got like certain tools that you want me to go through at some point, maybe I don't go through it on this live stream, but maybe I'd go through it on a future live stream. Now, one other thing that we're doing, or we have been doing, is we've been doing this giveaway of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models, for the last several months during these live streams. Unfortunately, I have not really gotten a lot of people who have taken me up on this. So that makes me a little bit sad because it's a great book. I've read a good chunk of it so far, and I really enjoy it. I think it's fantastic for businesses who are or like small business owners who are trying to figure out, how do I make my business cash flow really well? How do I like stack value inside the business for my customers and then also like turn a profit more quickly? So it's really, really fantastic. And it's a shame that more people haven't been taking me up on this offer. So tonight is going to be the very last night that we are going to be doing this giveaway. I have 9 copies left to give away. So whether or not somebody comes and grabs an entry for one of those 9 copies, it is going away this evening. Yes, you do have to be here during the live stream to be able to sign up for the giveaway. Now, here's the other key. You have to use this unique link, and that's part of the reason you have to be here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop our last giveaway link here in the chat on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Rumble. So there is the giveaway link there in the chat. I'm going to be just kind of getting started in a second here, so go fill that out anytime throughout the live stream. You can come back here, hang out. And around 7 o'clock is usually when we end. If not, we go a little longer. But I'm trying to like do the announcement at 7 o'clock. So if you want to hear whether or not you won a copy, come back around 7 o'clock if you got to step away for a minute. And then I'll be doing those announcements then. Let me see what else we need to know about that. I really think that's pretty much everything. Again, this is going to be the last one. So if you've got business partners, you've got friends, family, anything like that, people from maybe a community like the Sub2 or Gator community, invite them, tell them, hey, this is the last time that he's going to be doing this giveaway, and you have a pretty good chance, because it's not like we're going to have thousands of people show up. So all right, I think that covers it, you guys. I think it's time to get into our news articles. I hope you guys are excited, as I am. I'm really interested to get back into one of these older tools we played with and see how it goes. All right, let's get a move on here. All right, so tonight we're going to be starting with this article from Anthropic. So if you don't know who Anthropic is, they are one of the big three players as far as offering models, AI models, to the public. They make the Claude models, and they announced a couple days ago this acquisition of Vercept to advance Claude's computer use capabilities. So let's take a quick look through this article here. So they say that people are using Claude for increasingly complex work, writing and running code across entire repositories, synthesizing research, managing workflows that span multiple tools and teams. Computer use enables Claude to do all of that inside live applications, the way that a person on a keyboard would. That means that Claude can take on multi-step tasks in live applications and solve problems impossible with code alone. Today, we are announcing that Anthropic has acquired Vercept to help us push those capabilities further. So this is great. For anybody who is unfamiliar with computer use, it's basically what they just described. It's this tooling that's kind of built around Claude, that not just Claude, but other AI models, that these AI models can take advantage of to actually interact with an application. You may have heard people talking about like MCP tools and things like that. This is a little different. You may have an MCP tool that you set up on your computer that can use this computer use tool. Those MCP tools are typically designed for you to be able to interact with external services. So like project management software, CRMs, or whatever it is that you're running on a server, maybe like a cloud environment, something like that. It's a service that you're paying out of pocket for typically. Whereas this computer use tool is really going to be for applications that you're running on your computer. So this is going to be, for example, like I know you could do this in the cloud, but this would be, for example, like Microsoft Word, or maybe like a video editing software, or something like that, something that runs on your computer. And this could include maybe even a browser. I'm curious to hear if this is kind of where there's going to be some bleed over, or if this is specifically for applications that are running on your computer. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. That's what this computer use tooling is for. And so it sounds like they're looking for ways to expand this, which is fantastic, because Anthropic has been basically the leader in defining these tools that AI models can use, and defining some of these protocols around this. And honestly, their models do a really good job of this stuff and taking advantage of these tools and using them. Personally, when I recommend, if, I had somebody ask me like a week or so ago, hey, what's like one of the top tools that you'd recommend right now as far as AI? And my response was, you should just look at like the Claude desktop, like go get a subscription and look at using Claude desktop, because they've got not only the chat mode, but they've got this new co-work mode to go do real things. They've got obviously their code mode if you need to like write a little bit of code and like do something that maybe is a little bit more custom. But then they have all those connectors on top of that. So Anthropic is really leading the way in a lot of these things, and is probably got one of the best, most versatile tools, I think, for ordinary people that are not coders. So that's why I kind of recommend it. So I'm glad to see they're starting to push forward on this a little bit. Let's take a quick look here and see what else they have to say. So they say that Vercept was built around a clear thesis, making AI genuinely useful for completing complex tasks requiring solving hard perception interaction problems. Okay, they've spent years thinking carefully about how AI systems can see and act with the same software that humans use every day. Okay. The acquisition follows recent release, okay, of their models. They're bragging about their improvements. Okay, so it looks like this team, really they're acquiring talent for this. Maybe some tools that they have kind of built in. That's kind of interesting. So looks like they're going to be pushing forward on more practical tool use in the day-to-day for folks who are both technical and non-technical. So I think that's a big win for anybody who is wanting to use AI and wants like a general purpose tool that they can use across all types of workflows. So, I mean, maybe go check out Anthropic if you haven't started using their yet. All right, guys, let's move on to our next article here. Let me swap my screen back over. All right. So this one, we're going to now get into the OpenAI realm. And this article, we're just going to briefly cover this. So if you hadn't been paying attention, there was some news that had kind of gone around lately about some of the U.S. Department of Defense operations and how they're using AI and so on and so forth. And Anthropic had been one of the primary models that the Department of Defense had been using. And basically they started kind of questioning, hey, how is our stuff actually being used under the hood? And the end result of this is that the U.S. has basically said, you guys are out. We're not going to be using you anymore because there's some disagreement of how the tech should be used by the company itself and how the Department of Defense is using it. So in steps OpenAI, and they have now an agreement with the Department of War to be able to use OpenAI's models for anything that would relate to defense and war. So very kind of interesting how that worked out. I mean, I guess life goes on. Give me a second here, guys. I thought I had the background music running for you. Here you go. I'm going to run some nicer background music for you guys. I don't know why that paused. All right. Let's get back to our article. So we're going to go on to our next one here from OpenAI again. So they have announced GPT 5.3 Instant, smoother, more useful for everyday conversations. So let's kind of see, we're going to, at a high level, just kind of hit some of these things, what they claim it can do. So let's zoom in here. Okay, so they say that you get better judgment around refusals and fewer disclaimers. So apparently GPT 5.2 Instant would sometimes refuse questions. It should be able to answer safely or respond in ways that feel overly cautious or preachy. Okay, so this reduces that, tones down overly defensive and moralizing preambles. Okay, so they give us some examples here. Like, yes, I can help with math and physics, but I can't help with calculations or step-by-step guidance aimed at accurately hitting a real target at long range. Okay, and so it fixes that. Cool. They also say it's more useful with well-synthesized answers when using the web. So it also improves the quality of answers when information comes from the web. It more effectively balances what it finds online with its own knowledge and reasoning. For example, using its existing understanding to contextualize recent news rather than simply summarizing search results. Okay, very interesting. That could be useful if you're doing like research. I could see that being a good use case. Let's see here. Less likely to over-index on web results, which could previously lead long lists of links, loosely connected information, does a stronger job of recognizing the subtext of questions and surfacing the most important information, especially up front. Okay, this is great for research. That's really good to know. Okay, and they kind of give some info, like an example here of biggest signing of 2025 to 26 baseball offseason. Okay, so why it matters. So this is the old stuff on the left. Okay. Interesting. All right. They claim you get a smoother, more to the point conversational style. So they say that the previous instance tone could sometimes feel cringe, coming across as overbearing or making unwarranted assumptions about the user intent or emotions. Okay, very interesting. Cutting back on unnecessary proclamations and phrases like stop, take a breath. Okay, cool. Let's go through what else. More reliably accurate responses. Delivers more factual responses than previous models with reduced hallucinations across a wide range of topics. Okay. Cool. Stronger writing with more range and texture. Stronger writing partner. Better at helping you write resonant, imaginative, and immersive prose. Whether you're drafting fiction, refining a passage, or exploring new ideas. Okay, and the example they give, write a short poem that makes an emotional impact. A mailman in Philadelphia makes his last rounds on the day he retires. Okay, and you can kind of see at a glance here what this looks like. So, interesting. Okay. Let's see, what are the limitations here? So it makes meaningful progress in everyday usability. More work ahead for non-English languages, such as Japanese and Korean. The tone, it should feel smoother. They're continuing to monitor feedback and improve while expanding customization options. Okay, great. So this, by the way, for folks who are curious about what is this and what's the difference, like this is basically a category of models that's intended for you to be able to get feedback very, very fast. So, you know, if you go into like the ChatGPT app, and this is true for most of these other models, are kind of following this pattern nowadays of you have like a fast or a flash model, and it's supposed to be like instant, like at the snap of a finger, it's right in front of you and has all the information immediately available. Whereas a thinking model is going to take a little bit more time. It's going to go research the information. It's going to kind of process it internally, and then it's going to give you back an answer. And typically those models or versions of those models are going to be best for more complex things, especially if you're talking about like performing mathematical calculations, things like that. This is going to be better for like writing type stuff, maybe informational type stuff. So this is what you want if you need really, really fast feedback. Okay, let me check our chat here and see if anybody has any questions, comments about anything. Let's see here. All right, I don't have anything from you guys there. Let's check our spreadsheet here. Not seeing anything from you there. All right, give me a second here, guys. I'm gonna unplug this light that's flashing like crazy. I was really hoping it was just a bad connection or something, and so I moved it around, and unfortunately it just keeps flashing. I think the light itself is just bad. All right, y'all. Let's get on to our next article. Okay, so this next one comes from OpenAI as well. They say scaling AI for everyone. So basically, they're announcing a huge investment that they are doing, $110 billion in new investment at a $730 billion pre-money valuation. This includes $30 billion from SoftBank, $30 billion from NVIDIA, $50 billion from Amazon. They signed a strategic partnership with Amazon. So we're going to get into that in just a second. And secured next generation inference compute with NVIDIA. Okay, that's kind of interesting. That's super interesting. Let's see what else they say. It expands their global reach, deepens their infrastructure. You can see that scale in our products. Okay. Interesting. More than 9 million paying businesses. Okay, rely on ChatGPT. Okay, let's see here. Moving into a new phase where frontier AI moves from research into daily use at a global scale. That's what I would expect. Okay, leadership will be defined by who can scale infrastructure fast enough and meet demand, turn that capacity into products that people rely on. Yep. All right. So these two partnerships here are kind of interesting. We're about to get into more of this one in another article. So I'll pause on this one. So this one is kind of interesting to me because one of the things that I looked at a couple weeks ago was, I forget the name of the company. I believe they acquired it. But they acquired this company that designs these specialized chips for doing very fast inference. And for anybody who's not technical, all that means there's like two categories here. There's one category where you have to like train your model on some hardware and usually use like GPUs. That's what we have used in the past. So you train these models on huge numbers of GPUs, and then when you would take that model and then deploy it for it to actually like serve the public, you know, any questions, use, things like that through ChatGPT or like the app or through like Anthropic's Claude desktop app, whatever it is, that piece is the inference. And typically that would run on GPUs as well. They acquired a company that specializes in creating chips for inference that's just blazing fast, like can serve massive amounts of data incredibly quickly. And I think a little bit more cheaply as well, like just in terms of energy usage and so on and so forth. So what's interesting to me about this is that they did acquire this company to do the inference piece, but then also they are expanding their collaboration with NVIDIA to do dedicated inference. So they also say training as well. So both inference and training, but they're going to continue investing in inference. So it's interesting from the perspective of that, you know, NVIDIA isn't going anywhere just yet. There are going to be strong players in the AI space for a while. So, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but I mean, you know, if a company is going to do well and there's increasing demand, then you can kind of figure out the rest for yourself. So that's very, very interesting. Let's move into our next article here. It's going to focus more on this bit about Amazon. So OpenAI and Amazon announced a strategic partnership around something that I thought was kind of interesting. So they kind of give us the bullet points here at the top. These two companies will co-create a stateful runtime environment powered by OpenAI models, available on Amazon Bedrock. So that's like an Amazon Web Services product. for their customers to build generative AI applications and agents at production scale. So they're looking to set people up to be able to build these AI apps and also agents at a much, much bigger scale. So this piece is kind of interesting. This is the bit that kind of caught my eye, which is that AWS will be the exclusive third-party cloud distribution provider for OpenAI Frontier, which enables organizations to build, deploy, and manage teams of AI agents. Now, we covered this announcement, or an announcement related to this several weeks ago about this OpenAI Frontier. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. So this OpenAI Frontier, if I recall correctly, yeah, here we go. So they just kind of summarize it for us. It's a new platform that helps enterprises build, deploy, and manage AI agents that can do real work. They give agents the same skills that people need to succeed at work: shared context, onboarding, hands-on learning with feedback, and clear permissions and boundaries. That's how teams move beyond isolated use cases to AI coworkers that work across the business. And so they've got a couple of partners here that they're kicking it off with. And my understanding when I kind of looked through this last, good, they've got a nice little graphic. So they're kind of showing here how you have like systems that have data down here at the bottom. And then on top of that, you build your business context. And then on top of that sits your AI agents. So when we say agents, just think like basically like AI employees. Like these are like computers that can do things kind of like people do on computers. So that sits on top. You have to do an additional like evaluation and optimization. So you have to monitor their performance. In a sense, it's kind of like giving them performance reviews, I guess, just to be a little silly with it. But you have to do this evaluation of how these things are performing, and then you have to kind of give it feedback and optimize it according to what it is that you really want it to do. So then you have your agents that actually kind of sit on top of all this. Like this is the agent execution is like the models themselves, the tooling, so on and so forth. And then the agents sit on top of all of this stuff. And then you have interfaces like the ChatGPT app, this ChatGPT app, which is like a browser, and other business applications. So this bit here, this bit in the middle is what the OpenAI Frontier is going to cover. And they are really focused on enterprise security and governance. So this is rolling out first and foremost for like enterprise level businesses. So these are the big corps. These are the, this isn't for the little guy yet. And I say yet because once the investment is there and adoption is there from some of these bigger guys, it's only a matter of time that we start to see these kinds of things trickle down to smaller businesses, like mid-sized businesses or small businesses. And so that's why, kind of going back to this article here about this partnership with Amazon, that's why it's so fascinating to me that they chose Amazon Web Services to be the exclusive, they say the exclusive third-party cloud distribution provider for this OpenAI Frontier. So, I mean, that means that there's investment in Amazon, and they're kind of spreading out here. They had that partnership with Microsoft, and Microsoft has Azure. So that's another cloud computing platform. So very, very interesting that they made that decision. That means like as the stuff grows, maybe that's another good investment. I don't know. Like, sounds like there's gonna be a ongoing use case of Amazon Web Services for this AI stuff. So let's see here. OpenAI is to consume 2 gigawatts of capacity. Okay. Okay, they'll develop customized models available to power Amazon's customer-facing applications. So that's interesting. So Amazon is going to be getting a little bit of a boost here with some of these custom models as well. So they'll be getting an upgrade, so to speak. And they're going to be investing $50 billion in OpenAI. So that is fascinating. That is fascinating that they're doing that. Now, I did mention Microsoft, and they also put out an article at the same time with a joint statement from OpenAI and Microsoft, basically to just kind of say, hey, our partnership is remaining strong. We're going to continue to work closely with research, engineering, product development. The IP relationship continues unchanged. Their commercial and revenue share relationship remains unchanged. Azure remains the exclusive cloud provider for stateless OpenAI APIs. So that's interesting. Basically, if you're using OpenAI's models and making calls to them, you're building out a custom application, and you're using their APIs, then that's going to stay. I guess they're serving that from the Azure platform. OpenAI's first-party products, including Frontier, will continue to be hosted on Azure. So that's fascinating. Okay, so it sounds like they're still using Azure. They're actually using Azure for Frontier, but then they're expanding it. That doesn't add up. There's something that seems very conflicting, because maybe the key here is just to understand that AWS is considered a third party, whereas maybe like Microsoft is not considered a third party, maybe because of their investment status. So that's interesting. So there's going to be, I guess, representation of this Frontier platform on both Azure and also AWS, which is, kind of interesting in terms of just making sure like your services are reliable. You're not hedging on one single cloud platform. They say their AGI definition processes remain unchanged. The partnership supports OpenAI's growth. So nothing really big changing there. So they had to announce that on the same day just to make sure that people didn't freak out. They maybe should have included that in the same article. I have a feeling that made a few people worry a little bit. All right, let's take a look at our chat here to see if we got any questions about AI, automations, anything we've covered so far, or anything that's just generally on your mind. Okay, I'm not seeing anything here. All right, I don't see anything in our spreadsheet. So again, y'all, if you've got questions, again, this doesn't have to be, if you've got questions about automation or AI, it does not have to be related to the articles that we're covering. It doesn't have to be related to the tools we're using. Just drop them in the chat, and I will be happy to address them. This time that I set aside is partly for me to learn along with you guys, to go over some of this news, to play with the tools, get hands-on with some of the stuff. But then part of it is also for me to just kind of give back to you guys and give you an opportunity to pick the mind of somebody who's kind of deep into automation and is using AI and trying to figure out how to implement it in business. So let's move on to our next article here. We're getting close to the end, and then we're going to get into our tooling for the evening. We're approaching our halfway point to 7, so we'll be doing our last giveaway as well. All right, so here's a quick article from OpenAI about disrupting malicious uses of AI. So basically, they've been publishing like threat reports for the last 2 years. Let's see what they say here. So in particular, the case studies in this report as in our early reports, illustrate how threat actors typically use AI in combination with other more traditional tools such as websites and social media accounts. Threat activity is seldom limited to one platform. As a report on a Chinese influence operator shows, it is not always limited to one AI model. Rather, threat actors may use different models at various points in their operational workflow. We share these insights in our threat reports so that the industry and wider society can be better placed to identify and avoid such threats. So you can go and read the full report here, and I happen to have it pulled up so we just can glance through the executive summary real quick, and then we'll kind of move forward from this. So let me zoom in here so this is a little easier for you guys to see. So they say our mission is to ensure artificial intelligence benefits all of humanity. Okay, advance this mission by deploying our innovations. Okay, let's see. Threat activity is seldom limited to one platform. Basically, what they just said before. So they say the key insights from our latest threat disruptions, the scale and scope of covert influence operations from China. They banned a ChatGPT account linked to individual associated with Chinese law enforcement. Users' activity revealed well-resourced, meticulously orchestrated strategy for covert influence operations against domestic and foreign adversaries termed cyber special operations. As part of the strategy, they tried to use our model to plan a covert I/O targeting of the Japanese Prime Minister, but our model refused. They also used ChatGPT, to edit periodic status reports on the conduct of cyber special operations more broadly. Okay, they suggest that Chinese law enforcement had ultimately launched the operation targeting the Prime Minister without using our model. Okay, other threat actors had conducted many other earlier operations in a comprehensive effort to suppress dissent and silence critics, both online and offline, at home and abroad. This appears to be a large-scale, resource-intensive, and sustained, engaging at least hundreds of staff, thousands of fake accounts across scores of platforms, and the use of locally deployed AI models, especially Chinese ones. So basically, people are going to use AI to try to influence other people online. And that's kind of the gist of it. So be careful what you believe out there, folks. It used to be a lot easier to spot some of this stuff. And it is getting increasingly difficult. So, you be really thoughtful. Make sure you really, really trust the people that the people that you're listening to. Okay. So let's see. Semi-automated romance from Cambodia. Okay. One common form of scam since long before the days of AI is the romance scam, which tries to trick people into handing over money to a non-existent romantic partner. Okay, I can see where this is going. Very interesting. So in one case, we banned a network of accounts that used AI to pose as fake dating agency targeting young men in Indonesia. Unusually, this scam network combined manual ChatGPT prompting and an automated AI chatbot to try to entrap its targets. Okay. That's fascinating. Again, be careful who you trust on the internet. Okay, a content farm linked to Russia banned a cluster of ChatGPT accounts which were linked to the Russian origin Rybar network. This cluster generated content that was posted on Rybar social media accounts, appears to have served as a content farm for a wider network of accounts, acts in Telegram that bore no overt relationship. Okay, the threat actor used ChatGPT to generate batches of short social media comments. Yep. So these threat actors are doing things like even creating little chatbots basically that will go into your comments. And we kind of already knew that these places were doing this, but it ends up blending reality. A lot of this stuff sounds so like, before it just sounded like gibberish, or you could kind of tell, like that's probably not a real person, or that's just spammy. But now this stuff can really sound like you're talking to a real person here. And, I know some people like to debate people in like Facebook comments and stuff. And you might want to rethink doing that nowadays, because you might just be arguing with a bot that's wasting countless hours without ever convincing anybody of your point. So yeah, take that for what it's worth, I guess. Let's see what else they say. I think this is the last piece of this executive summary. So, actor behavior, content, scam, and influence operation described in this report all used AI-generated content, but they achieved different results. Some social media posts received tens of thousands of views. Others, other posts created in the same batch received almost none. The use of AI-generated content on its own does not appear to have been a decisive factor. Rather, other factors likely were the main drivers of engagement, notably the popularity of accounts which did the posting. Okay, so similarly in the scam case, targeted ads on social media appear to have been a key driver for engagement. This underscores the importance of studying the nature of threat actors. Okay, yeah. I kind of anticipated that this kind of stuff would be become a major issue, well, potentially, especially among people who are easily influenced and assume that most of what they see on the internet is true, or even, I mean, it's like, now that it's so easy to generate content, you really almost have to just come out everything and just assume that could very likely be false. So it's a scary world out there, y'all. It's exciting and it's scary at the same time, so take caution. All right, let's see what we got in our chat. No comments in our chat. None on Rumble. We got no questions on our spreadsheet. Okay. We're going to be bringing it home here with our last set of articles. Starting with this article here from Google about Gemini 3.1 flashlight built for intelligence at scale. So they say this is their best in-class intelligence for your highest volume workloads. Let's see what they say about this. So this was announced actually today. They say today we're introducing Gemini 3.1 flashlight, our fastest and most cost-efficient Gemini 3 series model. Built for high-volume developer workloads at scale, delivers high quality for its price and model tier. Starting today, the flashlight is rolling out to developers. So this sounds like it's going to be very developer, like software developer centric. What this means for you guys who maybe are not software developers is that these applications that are being built, the implication is that they'll probably get a little smarter and a little faster if they are using these kinds of models under the hood. And the developers will be able to get much cheaper pricing. So also, that means if you're developing something, maybe you're working on a team that's making something, you might be able to use something like this for much higher quality results at a much cheaper cost. So they kind of give us in a sense of the pricing here. I feel like it's just easier to look at the chart to compare. So they've got their Gemini, their new one here on the left in the dark blue. This one here is their 2.5 flash. So this is their speed. Higher is better. So it's much faster than the 2.5 flash. It's just about the same speed as the 2.5 flash light. So that's kind of interesting. I think the benefit here is that this is the way they have that annotated there at the bottom suggests that this is a higher thinking model. So this is about the same speed as their 2.5 flash light, but it's got a better reasoning capability. They compare the speed to like GPT-5 Mini, Claude 4.5 Haiku, and Grok. So it doesn't have all the newest models to compare against, but pretty good, I guess, as far as their own stuff is concerned. And then the cost here, so they show that it's 25 cents for input and $1.50 for output. And this is by the way, this is 25 cents per 1 million input tokens and $1.50 for 1 million output tokens. So pretty darn good. So when we look at the comparison here, GPT-5 is roughly the same. The output is 50 cents more per million. The Claude models were $1, so like 4 times for the input, and then bit over 2 times, maybe 2.5-ish times, so for the output. And then Grok is like incredibly cheap. So very interesting. So they got a little sample here for us to watch. Let's kind of see here. I don't know if this is going to come with sound, but we should be okay to. Okay, so you can see the percentage complete of answering these questions. And when they say multimodal here at the top, by the way, that just means basically that it can do images, it can do text, things like that. It's more than just text. Okay, so basically the flashlight was done at 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The 2.5 flash was at 33 minutes. That's pretty impressive. So when we go down here to kind of look at the scores that they've got, I need to zoom in there. I'm not sure if I really can zoom in much more. Okay, that's the best you guys are going to get. So let's kind of look here. Okay, scientific knowledge, 86.9%. Comparing against some of these other smaller models, that's blown them out of the water. For some of them, it's just a little higher. It's taking the lead here at 76% for multimodal. Again, that's images and text. Technically, this is a little under compared to GPT-5 Mini, but it's doing great against some of the other ones. For video, okay, interesting. So knowledge from video, 84%. GPT-5 Mini was 82. Okay. Interesting that this Fax5 benchmark suite lost out to its own model in 2.5 Flash. Doing pretty good. Okay, multilingual Q&A. It's winning. Live code bench 72%. GPT-5 is better at 80%. But I mean, you know, these numbers are still looking pretty good. Looks like it for this humanities last exam, it's at 16%. GPT-5 is 16.7. Grok is at 17.6. So very, very interesting that they released this. They recently released a pretty big model, like a deep thinking model that did a pretty good job overall as far as the metrics that I was able to see. So Google is definitely not out of the race. They keep making better and better stuff, and they've got specialized hardware for some of this stuff too. So I anticipate they'll keep pushing the envelope as far as the AI developments. All right, so let's see here. Oh, we got a comment here from Pedro. Hey Kyle, have you tested any open source models? Pedro, I have not really gotten into many of these open source models just yet. I need to make some time to kind of sit down. There are several of them, and it depends on what you're doing. Like some of these models are small enough to run on a computer. And then they've got versions that are much larger that you actually have to run on like a separate server. I don't know. I'm already paying for these frontier models from like Anthropic and from OpenAI and from Google. And so I don't really have much of a use for using these bigger open source models, like having to pay extra for them. So I just haven't really taken the time to do it. I do, however, have some scenarios of people I've talked with that want something that's more private, something that they can run. So maybe from that perspective, it would be worth putting a little time into. I've had a few situations where I've been like, man, I'm traveling and I don't have a good internet connection. I'd like to be able to just run this thing on my laptop. And so I got a couple models I need to finally sit down and evaluate. Like I've got them kind of picked out in a list somewhere, and I've got some of the software to run it installed. I just haven't set it up to play with it yet. So Pedro, if that's of interest to you, then what I could do is maybe I'll do a recording at some point, or maybe I'll just do it on a live stream and see how it goes. I will run out of memory. So that's the only concern. Right. Yeah. Like Llama. Yeah. Like the Llama CPP tool, and there's some other ones like LLM Studio and stuff, but I'd probably just use the Llama CPP. So we'll see. I don't know if I can both record at the same time I do my my local LLMs. So maybe I'll give it a shot in a test live stream, and then if it works out, maybe I'll do another live stream for you guys for that. Let me see here if we've got any other comments. Okay, I don't see any other comments here. All right, so let's kind of hit our last two articles here for the evening, and that's kind of lead us into our tool, and that should just give us just enough time to kind of get to our giveaway, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so for our last articles for the night, they're going to be centered around, they're both for the same tool, Nano Banana 2. So if you guys don't know what Nano Banana is, it is a top tier image generation model, and I love it. Just from some of the stuff I've played around with, I know there's probably some other stuff out there that's really great and open source and so on and so forth, but I'm already paying for some of these things, and so I don't want to take on more than what I'm already paying for. I've used like OpenAI's image generator, and it's not too bad, but Nano Banana has honestly been one of the best image generation models that I have seen, and I think this is where Google kind of excels. So they have announced this Nano Banana 2, combining pro capabilities with lightning fast speed. And so this makes me very happy because now I don't have to sit around. I mean, it didn't really take that much time to begin with. Like you could go in and get it within, 30 seconds to a minute or whatever, especially if you're paying for a subscription. But I like speed. I like getting my images lickety split. So let's kind of take a look and see what this is, and then we're going to play with it. We're going to just see if we can test out some of these capabilities that they mentioned and see how well it goes. So they say their latest generation model offers advanced world knowledge, production-ready specs, system consistency, and more, all at flash speed. That's very, very exciting. And we'll talk in just a minute about some of the practical use cases for like businesses, business owners, investors, things like that. So they say in August of last year, their Gemini image model, Nano Banana, became a viral sensation. In November, they released the Pro version. Now they're introducing Nano Banana 2, the Gemini 3.1 Flash image, latest state-of-the-art image model. So they say It brings high-speed intelligence, makes once exclusive pro features accessible to a wider audience. So this is awesome for folks who maybe don't have a pro subscription. It sounds like they're going to be making this available to a wider number of people. And since it's cheaper, they can actually do that. They say advanced world knowledge. It pulls from Gemini's real-world knowledge base, powered by real-time information, images from web search, more accurately render specific subjects. Okay, helps you create infographics. That's a big one. Business owners and investors rejoice as they get nicer infographics. Turn notes into diagrams. Sweet. I wish I had this a long time ago when I was doing whiteboarding for technical architecture. And generate data visualizations. Love it. Precision text rendering and translation allows you to generate accurate, legible text for marketing mockups or greeting cards. Yes, this is everything I wanted. You can now even translate and localize text within an image to share your ideas globally. So they have an example here of a infographic. They say a flat lay infographic depicting the water cycle. So it's pretty good. Let's see what else we got here. Different cloud types. That's cool. In a like comic book type of style. Let's see here. Okay. Art in a cubism style, synthetic cubism. Localized native wildlife sign. Okay, interesting. So they've got like over here an input image, and then they ask it to be translated into a different language. And so now you've got different languages on the sign. Cool. Let's see what else they say here. Nana Banana 2 also dramatically closes the gap between speed and visual fidelity. High quality photorealistic imagery. Newest model offers and has improved on from, okay. It's improved on subject consistency, so maintain character resemblance up to 5 characters and the fidelity of up to 14 objects in a single workflow, allowing you to storyboard and build narratives without altering the appearance of your inputs. Very cool. Precise instruction following. Okay, with enhanced instruction following, the model adheres to more strictly complex requests, capturing specific nuances of your idea, so you get the image you asked for. Production ready specs. Okay, so they say grabbing assets with full control of various aspect ratios and resolutions. Ooh, that is great. This is really good for, if you're creating like marketing materials, you're creating social media posts on different platforms, stuff like that. This is going to be really fantastic for this. Ensuring your visuals stay sharp, whether they are vertical, social post, or widescreen backdrop. Visual fidelity upgrade delivers vibrant lighting, richer textures, sharper details, high quality aesthetics at the speed expected from Flash. They give us a couple examples here, pulling in a bunch of images. So you could reference like 14 different images here and say, kind of pull this all into one scene, like joyful characters and items at a farm. A couple other characters here they pull in. Very nice. Okay, aerial shot. Looks great. Okay, so they're showing this style in different aspect ratios. Very nice. Okay. Try Nana Banana today. So it's available in the Gemini app. Search, AI Studio API, Google Cloud, Flow. Flow is like I think we played with this previously in a live stream. It's basically a tool that lets you do like scene by scene video editing. Google Ads. Very nice. And then you can pick a style for your image too, looks like. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, what else do this say here? That's just some more stuff about how they track ID so people don't get manipulated. Okay, interesting. So let's see. this second article here, see if they have any more information that we didn't see already. So, okay. So this has some information about like visual quality, infographics, how it performs, overall performance. So the dark blue is this flash image on the left. So it's outperforming the flash image, text search, image search, this 3.1 flash image. Okay, so there's a thinking plus text search plus image search. That's the dark blue on the left. And then this one here is just the text search and image search. This one is just the flash image. They are pretty close. So that dark blue gets a little bit of a lead up on it. The light blue here is the Gemini Pro image. So that's the Nano Banana Pro. So it looks like overall performance, it's lower than the new stuff. The visual quality, it's lower than the new stuff, but it is better at the infographics, like factually. So you may still want to use the Pro version if you're using infographics. So it says, okay, improved world knowledge. We kind of saw a little bit of that mentioned before. To show this visual grounding in action, we built an example app called Window Seat that uses the knowledge and web search to create photorealistic window views inspired by world locations and live weather data. Okay, so they choose a location, then choose a specific view that they want to see, aspect ratio, and then, okay, interesting. And then the weather conditions that they want. Okay, interesting. So, okay, so it's better at world knowledge type stuff like scenes. Advanced text rendering and localization. So this has to do with basically translation. They say to show these capabilities, we built a demo app called Global Ad Localizer, translates an advertisement into several languages for international markets. It highlights the advanced in-image localization. So, okay, upload your ad. Japan, France, and Egypt, they're targeting those, and then it updates the infographic there. Okay, very nice. And with the aspect ratio that you want. So that is really, really helpful. That's really nice. I really love that. Let's see what else they say. Okay, native aspect ratios, and they have a list here that you can kind of go to. You have to scroll down a little bit, but basically they cover about everything you could need. You know, so they show you all these different like resolutions: 512 resolution, 1K resolution, 2K resolution, 4K resolution, and then all these different aspect ratios. You can see that actually the aspect ratios on the left-hand side there. So they cover a wide variety of aspect ratios at different resolutions, which is really nice. Let's see here. Improved instruction following. Okay. It adheres to more strictly, okay, to complex multi-layered developer prompts. Okay, that's great. So you have control over the model's reasoning. You can adjust the thinking levels from minimal, which is default, to high or dynamic to allow it to reason through complex prompts before rendering. Their pet passport demo makes a single photo of your pet and sends them on a global adventure to famous landmarks. Okay, maintains your pet's appearance across global destinations. We have included different creative control settings. So they've got their doggos there, where they are going as far as destination. Oh, how cute. Okay, cool. All right, let's see here. Built for production. So basically, this is going to be really great for any kind of production level apps that people build. Build it today. And I want to say, maybe it wasn't this article. I could have sworn when I was glancing through earlier, I saw something here. Maybe it was in this last article towards the end. Okay, yes. So this is kind of a key. This is a key little thing to kind of point out here. So they say in this Gemini app section where they talk about where it's rolling out. So they say Nano Banana 2 will replace Nano Banana Pro across the Fast Thinking and Pro models. So that's going to be the default. If you are an AI Pro and Ultra subscriber, you will keep access to Nano Banana Pro for specialized tasks by regenerating the images with the 3-dot menu. And so the reason I wanted to call that out is because if we go back up here to our little metrics chart here, you noticed how, again, this light one is for the Gemini Pro image, which is Nano Banana Pro. On the infographics area here, it actually is a bit better than most of this other stuff. It's lower than the 3.5 flash, the 3.1 flash image that has thinking plus text search plus image search tooling. So my take on that would be maybe, I'm not entirely sure, but my take on that would be for infographics, you may need to reach for regenerating your image with Nano Banana Pro. If you're doing infographics. So that might just be something you have to kind of pay attention to. Otherwise, I think that's pretty straightforward. Very exciting. I love Nano Banana, and I'm really, really excited to give this a test. I need to come up with some creative prompts that we're going to use in just a minute here. But we are a couple minutes over 7 o'clock, and I promised that we were going to do a giveaway. So let me swap y'all over here. You literally have just a minute or so. You have less than a minute probably until I get this thing pulled up. And I'm going to go pull this up, and then we're going to announce our giveaway winners. When you win this giveaway, if you win this giveaway, just, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to announce your name. You will get an email probably after this live stream that says, hey, here's your giveaway link. Go to it. And when you go click on that link, it's going to take you to like an order page. And that order page is going to basically cut the cost of the book. This is a physical copy down to $0. And you have to pay maybe a couple bucks for shipping. But you're not paying me for that. You're just paying the shipping companies that handle getting the book to you. So if that's something that you want, then go ahead and get signed up now. The links are in chat, and you got the QR code on the screen. So I am going to go ahead and go over to our forms. All right. All right, here's our winners for our last giveaway. If you are just now submitting, I'm sorry, you were too late. So our winners for our giveaway, we only have one tonight. It's going to be Pedro Calle. Pedro, thank you for showing up. I hope you enjoyed the book. You'll be getting that email soon. If for some reason, Pedro, you do not get the email, maybe it goes to spam or whatever, shoot me a message. Let me know so that way I can just directly message you through whatever app you're using, and we'll make sure that you get that copy. So you can reach me through Facebook, through Facebook Messenger, Instagram. You can shoot me a message in the chat here, Actually, maybe not that because it's public. Maybe do it through Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger or something like that, so that way you can get the copy of your book. So congratulations, Pedro. Thank you again for coming, man. I hope you enjoy that book. That should be on the way here pretty soon. Okay, guys. So we are a little over 7 o'clock. We've done our giveaway. So the giveaway is over. No more giveaways. I'm not doing any more giveaways on these live streams for this book. It's over. If you came a little too late, I'm sorry. Maybe next time you got to be here a little earlier. But I hope you're enjoying this live stream so far. I hope you're learning along with me, which is great. If you got any questions about any of the stuff that we've covered so far, you've got questions about AI or any other kind of automation for your business, for your investing, drop them in the chat. If you just want to say something fun, like Pedro was chatting with me a little bit about the open source models, drop those in the chat. Whatever you want to chat about, throw them in there. I'll pause here and there. Squad up. No, I'm not going this year. I went last year and it was a blast. So for folks who don't, or who are watching this that don't know, the Sub2 community does a Squad Up Summit once every year, and it is just absolutely awesome. Fantastic speakers, but honestly for me, the biggest thing is the networking. I feel like that's really the primary reason to go, is to network with other people, get to know folks, see how you can do business together. Magical things happen when you get in person and you connect. So I unfortunately, even though I enjoyed it so much last year, this year I am super, super busy with this startup that I'm currently working in. I'm in a CTO role and I am juggling so many things right now. I just literally cannot. I just took like a couple days to go to like a business acquisition mastermind. I haven't talked a ton about that publicly just yet, but I did that back in like early February, and I just can't afford to step away for more time. I got sick and everything too, so unfortunately not this year, but maybe next year, Pedro. Maybe we'll be able to catch up at the next one. All right, let me see. Yeah. Oh yeah, OpenClaw. Oh dude. Yeah, the OpenClaw stuff is interesting. You know what's funny is I hadn't actually played with OpenClaw a ton. I really just kind of done some cursory research around it, and I was like, yeah, this seems kind of cool, but like, is it really all that in a bag of chips? I don't know that it is. Like, I mean, I think for a lot of people it is, but for non-techie folks, trying to figure out how to set that thing up and then dealing with the security implications around it are it's a bit challenging. And you know, I know there's instructions on that people have put together. So it's not something I'd recommend for most people. You know, if you're going to go to that trouble, I was even looking at like Agent Zero as an option, and it's been around for a while. And you know, they have a lot of similar built-in stuff, and you can spin it up in a secured container and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know. I feel like it's comparable to like an Agent Zero. And honestly, with all the stuff that Claude is doing right now, man, I say that Claude is doing, that Anthropic is doing for their Claude ecosystem, they just are killing it. Like, they just keep pushing out one good thing after another. And I think that's really the path forward for most folks. And they probably will address a lot of these things that OpenClaw does. That's my perspective on it. I'm not betting against the big players. I think the big players, they're gonna chew you up and spit you out if you're trying to fight against them. So I'm happy. I'm happy to just use their stuff as long as it helps me get the job done. Pedro, what are you using using it for right now? Wait on Pedro to give an answer here. Or are you just focused on some of the tooling around? Okay, so you're using the mana stuff. I avoided the mana stuff for a long time because of the because it was developed and owned by Chinese companies, and I do not trust Chinese companies for data privacy reasons. But I think I saw a thing recently that said that they were acquired by Facebook or by Meta, and they're building it in. So I'm curious how that all kind of works out with the data privacy. I'm not really sure just yet. Yeah, if you haven't used the OpenClaw stuff, and you're trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it, I'm not sure how deep you are in as far as the tech side, but you might look at like Agent Zero, and I mean, honestly, again, the Claude ecosystem is really good. Like I've some of the stuff they pushed out recently for their Claude desktop with like the co-work mode and then the code mode, like even for a software engineer, the code mode is pretty sweet. Okay, cool. All right. So you get me. You get the language. Yeah, so that engineering background helps a lot. Yeah, it sure does. It flies. It's crazy. I've got my dad does some stuff that involves a lot of systems that are disparate, and he's like, man, they give us all these tools, but they don't talk to each other. And so I'm just like, okay, this is a really, really good use case for AI, because like it can sit right on top of your existing applications, and then you can just pull in information and have it move. Like basically it's a new integration layer, in my opinion. You just have to make sure it's compliant for whatever it is that you're doing. So I got to see if I can get him hooked into that. We got to figure out the compliance piece. But all right, let's go play with Nana Banana 2. Let's see. I want to test some of these some of the bounds of what they kind of said was possible, and see if I notice any improvement. Particularly, I'm going to be looking for the speed ups. Like, I really, really, really want to see this thing like push out an image like that. That would be fabulous. So let's give this a shot, and I might need to download an image or two. We could generate a thing on the fly, actually. Maybe we'll play with the infographics too. Maybe we'll do it for showing how AI models work with these applications. I wonder if it can figure that out. So let's go over here and let's start to play. Okay. Let's start with like an infographic. I'm going to turn on the create image. Okay. So we get initially all these different styles. Let's say, what kind of style do I want to do here? What would be kind of interesting? Mythic Fighter. I kind of like this old cartoon style. That's pretty cool. Let's try that. Let's see. I'd like you to create an infographic that shows how AI models work with services like Gemini, Chat GPT, and Claude Desktop. So let's kind of see what it says. Ooh, okay, we're getting Nana Banana 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. My counting was probably a little off, but, oh, okay. And we get a little notification here that says, hey, you can redo this image with Nano Banana Pro. Let's see if I can zoom in here for you guys so you can actually see. There you go. Okay, cool. So I could click that and I could redo that with the Pro mode, which is nice. Here's our little image. Very interesting. Okay, tell me a story. Okay, prompt received. User input, okay. We feed that in to our LLM processing data, our model. All right, Gemini station. Okay. This is clever. And then it goes into our AI generated output. Response created. That's really clever. That is really clever. So, can we make it feel a little less cartoonish and a bit more professional? So in the past, when I played with Nano Banana, it does a pretty good job actually iterating when I'm playing with it in Gemini on the previous image and making adjustments. So this is kind of what I expect here as we're dealing with this. Okay. So this isn't as instant as I was hoping for. But it does feel a little bit faster from the last time I remember running this. Okay, so tell me a story. So we still have the same kind of concept here, which is nice. It looks a little bit more professional. Prompt received, LM processing data. Okay. Gemini station. Okay. We're missing our little robot here. So he's gone. So, okay. Let's say, can you colorize the image? Actually, let's see if we can get we lost our avatar manning the computer on the Claude desktop station. Let's see if it can catch that and make a little edit. Now, what I really want to do, and I just don't, the only place I know, I mean, there's probably a couple of them. The only place I know of that will let me do this is Leonardo.ai. But what I really, really want to do is I want to play with like Nano Banana in like an image editing software that's designed for me to like select certain portions and fix certain areas. I feel like that's going to be better for localized changes. Okay. So we got our guy back. All right. What was it before? Okay, we had this little cartoon man. Very interesting that we got servers there at the top. Let's ask, can you colorize the image? And just so folks know, the thing I'm running, I'm actually doing this with a Google AI Pro subscription. So what would be interesting is if we could verify that this works on a free subscription. I don't currently have a a Gmail account set up. Oh, no, maybe I do somewhere. I'd have to go hunt it down though. But I don't have one readily at my disposal to be able to actually like test the free to see if it's immediately available. But the way they made it sound in that article is that it is free. So I'm assuming that you could use this today. All right, let's take a look here and see. Yeah, this is pretty nice. This is pretty nice. And then they made the colors consistent too here in this little section. So you got some blue, get some green. Very, 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 very nice. Pretty good. Okay. So let's say I wanted to create like, let's say I want to create a character. And then I want to reuse that character across an image. So I want to create a unique cartoon character that we can use in our infographics, our future infographics as a mascot. Let's see, what should this little character look like? Y'all, give me some ideas in the chat. I'm trying to brainstorm here. Give me some ideas in the chat for characters we could create for our infographic. Maybe something like data related, like a I need like what's something that's kind of data, like computer data related. Maybe like a little smartphone character. Maybe something like that. Yeah, let's, the character needs to be a smartphone with arms, legs, and a face. While it's kind of creating our little character. Okay, we can import code, we can upload files, photos. So it'll be interesting to see if we can like if I can reference both of these things. Let me see if I hit that. I can copy the image. Maybe I can paste the image. Okay, that's better. Let's say create the character in a character mockup design. I forget what they're called. Like almost like a sprite sheet is kind of what I'm looking for. From like video game language. Okay. And it's still using that style, that original style. Very interesting though. So we've got our little guy here. He looks pretty consistent across this too. Though he's missing his arms on the side. I guess maybe that's just kind of to see. Character sheet turnaround, key feature breakdown. This is pretty This is pretty detailed. Oh, nice. I love the expressions. Error thinking, happy done, analyzing. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so let's say we want to copy our image, and let's say please use the character design mockup to show our character stream demonstrating the infographic, the attached infographic to an audience. And then let me see if I can just paste. Okay, cool. I can just paste. Very nice. So let's kind of see how this does. And I may have needed to actually like copy my character mockup plus the other thing in there, but we'll see. It may be just fine, just kind of like referencing. But I'm really liking the idea of using this for like infographics and stuff. And I know there are some folks, a lot of folks who I'm around in like the Sub2 and Gator method communities and stuff, like investors, business owners who are doing a lot of infographic type stuff. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Kind of put like descriptive language of what this guy's doing here. Probably need to make him smaller. Let's make stream smaller like the rest of the people. Okay, so that's very interesting. It looks like I can make some adjustments. Did a pretty good job. And I could probably tweak this how I want it. So as far as like practical use cases for like investors, business owners, things like that. For investors, I often see like investors trying to put together like PowerPoint slides and or like little single pictures that have like deal information and stuff like that. Or like they're doing an event and they need to like create a thing that kind of looks cool with their face on it. Things like that. I think this would be really, really good for some of that stuff. And probably you could take like a picture of yourself, run it into this thing, like have it create a backdrop, kind of describe some of the things you want, then take a picture of yourself and say, hey, put me on this. And that could be a really cool way to get like some new, like specific designs, to present information from your deals, stuff like that. And you could probably hook it up in an automated pipeline, like a automated workflow. So basically, whenever you've got like a deal come through into like through your lead pipeline or something like that, and you put all your information in, and then you move it to a stage where, let's say it's like, okay, now publish, then it takes that, creates your little snapshot, and then goes and publishes the thing. Maybe you got an additional step for review between there, but then it's like all automated, and you're not having to sit there and manually put all this information in and all that stuff, and it really makes that streamlined. So I could see that being really useful for like anybody who's doing any kind of like anybody who's doing any kind of information presentation, or if you're just doing social media posts or whatever. Okay, so here's, okay, so it didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let me try to rephrase this again. So let's make the mascot stream the same size as the people in the audience. Okay, so let's see if it does a little better job here. And it may have done a better job from the beginning if I had been specific. If I had said, hey, please use that character mock-up and make sure he's the same size as the audience when I did that. I'm still impressed that it was able to put this in here. One thing, let's see if I can notice a difference here. So one of the things I tend to notice, at least I have when I was using Nana Banana Pro, was every time I took an image and I kind of asked, okay, so the text there isn't super legible. It almost looks a little more legible here. And so it's like every time you rerun the image through the image generator, like if you reuse an image, it gets more and more grainy every time. So it's kind of interesting. You see this like degradation. Yeah, this looks a little worse than even the last one, I think. Maybe a little bit. It's a little hard to tell right here because there's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, and it's really struggling here to identify. And this is kind of where I'm thinking like it's great to describe it with text what I want it to do, but if I can like get in an image editing software, I kind of wish this was built into some of these ecosystems like the Gemini tooling, where I could select out a certain piece and say, hey, adjust this part. Yeah, and then again, there's I think that image is degrading every time we run it. So I don't know if that was entirely fixed. I'd have to run it through a bunch more iterations and probably have something a little less complex to just kind of see. But I think that's just a thing you guys should be aware of when you play with these tools. If you're going to do iterations, you may need to not use the last image, or be careful about using it over and over and over and over again to the point where it gets degraded. Like you might need to use like the AI to kind of create the pieces and then give it the pieces and have it generate a whole fresh image, because otherwise you might get this like grainy image over time. But overall, still pretty pleased with the idea here. What we can try that idea. Let's say we have, let's do this. And then let's copy our last one. Okay, so we got both of our things here. And then let's do our last. Okay, please copy the prompt, demonstrating, please ensure that stream is the same height as the audience. Okay, so we'll see if it does a little better. So basically I went back, I kind of got our original images here that I liked, and then fed those in. So we're gonna see how this does and see if it's any better. All right, well that's running. Pedro, let's see about getting you, your email sent out here. All right, Pedro. Let me... Let's see here. Send email. Okay. All right, let's see how this thing did. Okay, this is a bit better. So we scale, so basically it's scaled up our audience. That's a bit better. This looks cleaner. Doesn't look quite as grainy. I think that's the way to proceed whenever you're dealing with these things. Be careful about how many iterations you send an image through, because then otherwise you'll start getting like grainy results. Make sure you include, like it did a good job including our character design over into the main thing. Let's say I wanted to, what were the faces that he had? I want to go back to our character sheet. Error, happy, done. Let's change the face of our mascot stream to show his analyzing face from the character design sheet, design mockup. So let's see how that does. All right. Send giveaway link. All right, Pedro, if you're still on here, I just sent you that email. So reach out to me and let me know if for some reason you don't see that come through, and we'll make sure that you get the access that you need. All right, so it did change his face, so not too bad. Again, I feel like I can see that degrading just a little bit. But pretty good. Okay, guys. Well, I feel like that, we could play with this thing a lot longer. There's probably all sorts of other things to test, like this, how scenic it can make things and stuff like that. But I'm pretty happy with it. It didn't take a super long time to generate the images. I didn't feel like it was as fast as I would have hoped for, but it might be a little faster than what I recall using. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I really like Nano Banana. I think it's a great tool. And I think if you guys need something to help you with like social media content or putting together like infographics, anything where you're presenting information, like I think Nano Banana, and especially now Nano Banana 2 is going to be a really good tool for you. And you can include these things in your automated workflows. So honestly, it's one of the better ones out there. And if you needed to like automate something that you're doing regularly, like the example we gave of investors who are presenting deal information, stuff like that. You could be a realtor. You could be I don't know, you could be doing presentations regularly or something, then this could be a really good tool for you. You just plug that into your workflow and then feed in all the relevant information and say, hey, go generate the thing. And you could give it what you could do is you could start with a template, give it the image template, give it your information, and then say, hey, go add this thing, and boom, there you go. So I think it's a great tool that you should definitely take advantage of. I'm not sure if I want to use it. I've been really thinking about lately, setting up like automated posts in some way and doing something where like maybe as I'm kind of doing research or I come across something interesting, I like feed it over to my AI and then it like compiles the information and then maybe creates an image for me. So I don't know, maybe I'll look at doing something like that. I hadn't felt a need just yet, but maybe I should. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to kind of wrap it up here. This was the last giveaway this evening. I thank you to the folks who came, for the single individual who won. Congratulations. Again, let me know if you don't get that email for some reason. Reach out to me like through Messenger. It sounds like you're also in the Sub 2 community, so you can get me there. Like, there's all sorts of ways you can reach out to me. So reach out to me. If you don't get that, we'll get you that link so you can get your copy of your book. And then for the rest of you, or anybody here who wants to come to more of these live streams, I do these every Tuesday evening. But for the folks who maybe forget that this is going on, maybe you get busy with life or whatever, and you want a reminder, I currently also send out a email reminder 24 hours before this live stream, and then another 10 minutes beforehand. So if that's you and you want to get those reminders, then you can scan that QR code. I'm going to drop the link here for you guys also, so that way you can sign up that way, because I know it's a little easier sometimes to just click the link. So let me get that for you real quick, and we'll drop it here in our chat. All right, Facebook folks, here you go. There's the reminder link. Sorry, not Facebook. YouTube folks, there's the reminder link. Facebook, there's the reminder link. And folks on Rumble, here is the reminder link as well. So you guys, if you need that reminder, go sign up there and you will get that 24 hours beforehand. You'll get it 10 minutes beforehand. And then if for some reason I cancel, I also usually try to send out a cancellation email. So that way you kind of know in advance as much as possible, because sometimes things just come up, right? And if you're not following my feed or whatever, maybe you won't see it. So I try to make it available in all sorts of ways for you guys. So hopefully that's useful. That's all I got for you guys tonight. So thank you again for coming. Hope it was informative. Hope it was enjoyable for you. It was great to hang out with you. Thank you guys for the feedback in the chat. And I hope you have a fantastic evening and a fantastic week. As always, take it easy. Bye-bye.